If you thought Joe Biden's cognitive issues were the greatest cause for concern, think again. Here is extraordinary footage of the confused leader of the free world on the tarmac of Helsinki airport, effectively harassing a little girl, strangely pretending to bite at her and then attempting, and I can't believe I'm saying these words, to sniff her hair. Take a look at creepy Uncle Joe in action. It's that sniff at the end that really does it for me. Take note of how terrified the child looks. She's not a bad judge of character, is she? I've long railed against Biden's unfitness for office based upon the fact that he's lost the plot and he's more confused now than a eunuch in a brothel. Hitherto, my great concern is that a man who has access to the nuclear codes can't remember what he had for breakfast, what he went into a room for, and where he's left his glasses. He is the first president in history to have more nurses than security guards. In what some speculate could be dementia, it's clearly a threat to US national security and ultimately the free world to have a man in the grip of mental decline making all the decisions. He shouldn't be making any decisions. He should be sat at home in a comfortable armchair with a nice cup of tea, watching reruns of The Golden Girls, the cast of which look like sprightly teenagers compared to him. This was never about his age, by the way. Donald Trump, not much younger than him, is flawed, of course, but mentally remarkably agile. The late, great Winston Churchill was a fantastic prime minister into his 80s. And Rupert Murdoch runs a media empire worth billions at a young 92. Well, Joe Biden couldn't run a bath. There's only one winner with this bumbling fool in the White House, and that's the Chinese President Xi Jinping, whose bold plan to become the world's largest economic and military superpower is only helped by having such a weak counterpart in the Oval Office. The Democratic Party are showing willful blindness in relation to Biden's crumbling cognition. And if any of this sniffing of children was done by Trump, they would be giving him hell. At least Stormy Daniels was a fully grown woman. And now we have this disturbing new video, which suggests Creepy Joe is more than confused. Let's set aside the fact that he accidentally called Zelensky Vladimir. It would be helpful when you've got enough munitions to end mankind to remember who your enemy is. Let's set aside the fact that just this week he offered a NATO security commitment to Finland and then he didn't. And in a meeting with a group of Nordic nations, he referred to the head of Iceland as the head of Ireland. You know as well as I do that there are a list of these gaffes as long as your arm. But this creepy stuff with kids and the hair sniffing is a new nightmare. And I'm afraid he's got previous. On a trip to Virginia, he called out an elementary school girl, saying, "Look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there like a little lady with her legs crossed." Last year, during an event in Florida, Biden told a group of underage female dancers, "I'm coming back and I want to see these beautiful young ladies dancing when they're 4 years older too." Yuck. In 2019, he told a 10-year-old girl, that's right, a 10-year-old girl, "I bet you're as bright as you are good looking." Yikes. At this rate, he'd walk straight into a job at the BBC. These incidents with Biden have a long history. In February 2015, he was caught on camera touching Stephanie Carter as her husband Ashton was sworn in as Secretary of Defense. Just take a look at that image. Look at that. What the actual? In April 2019, Caitlin Caruso claims Biden gave her a hug that lasted, quote, "just a little bit too long" when she was a teenage student attending an event in 2016 devoted to, wait for it, sexual assault. And what about this shocker, as he bizarrely leans into a young girl and says, "No serious guys till your 30s, with his hands massaging her shoulders. Tell me what you think of this body language.
Oh, what the hell?
Look at Dan.
Now, the very important thing I told my daughter and granddaughters, no serious guys till you're 30.
Okay.
Right?
No what?
No serious guys till you're 30.
I'll keep that in mind.
President Joe Biden isn't just confused, he's downright creepy. Would you have him over to babysit the kids? Either way, I'm troubled. This confused and increasingly sinister man should be nowhere near a Wendy House, let alone the White House. Creepy Joe has got to go.